Hello, and welcome to Gardening with Soul in the land of El Sol. Today we are looking at a plant called a cycad. This is got many names. The most common name is sago palm, and it's not a palm at all. It's actually a cycad, Cycas revoluta. And it's called revoluta because when the new leaves come out, they come out in a spiral. They revolve around the center of the plant. And this particular plant that I have is over 25 years old. I got it from my dear friend Richard Felger, God rest his soul. And it was a little baby plant when I first got it. And now it's much bigger in a giant pot, and it really needs to be potted up. I don't know if we can see down in there. Yeah, ouch. So one of the things is it's a very pretty plant. You heard me say ouch. The tips of the leaves are somewhat sharp and pointy, but it's a nice look in the landscape. It's lush, it's quite green. Kind of got that foresty green. I'm going to back up the tripod here. Okay. So you can see just a little bit better that it's in this big pot. And yeah, I haven't done the best job about keeping the lower leaves cleaned off, tidied up. You can cut off the dead old leaves whenever you want to. I mean, whenever they're brown. Don't cut off the green leaves at all if you possibly can, because this is a very primitive plant, and it takes those leaf bases and it forms the trunk out of them. And it's the same for palm trees, which are quite different from this plant. But this plant was around before dinosaurs, and it's still around, and dinosaurs are gone. So you got to kind of respect that history. This Cycas revoluta comes to us from, of all places, southern Japan, and yet it lives very well in the desert. And my poor guy is living very well in this pot. It's called sago because they did at one time extract a food product from it. But there's a lot of toxins in this plant, so that doing so is not entirely safe. You have to keep rinsing it out and everything. And by the time you're done, the nutrients are gone, and it mostly just provides a starch in your diet. So I do have to say for a lot of plants in my yard and that I talk about, I have these plant data sheets. Oh, the sun's shining right on it. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, it's full of notes, and it's full of written notes over the years. I keep adding to it. And light snow may happen. This poor fellow had him for 25 years. He lived right through that freeze of 2011 when it got so cold. And it got down to 11 at my house. And what happened was there was a little bit of tip damage, and a lot of the leaves died, but it resprouted. It did fine. And no, I did not cover it. I don't tend to cover my plants. The one thing I do want to say about this, it is evergreen, which is nice. So that it's a green element in your landscape. Because of the sharpness, you wouldn't want to put it next to where you commonly sit. Very low litter. You know, it grows new leaves once a year in the spring. And so you might want to prune them then, prune off the old ones once the new ones come up, and they come straight up, and then they open out, and it's really pretty to watch. And the new ones are kind of furry, and then as they mature, they're not quite so furry. Anyway, only prune the dead fronds. I said that already. I also wanted to tell you that it is toxic to pets. Basically, about 75% of the pets that eat this do die. So if you have a silly dog that can eat past these sharp toothed leaves and maybe munch on the center core, I don't know how he would do that. If your dog is very bored, he might eat this. and it would definitely, if you see signs that he's eaten the plant, get him to the vet, because it's a very toxic plant. And mostly it's just something pretty that sits in the landscape. Now, I mentioned before that it was very primitive. Excuse me, we don't like to use that judgmental type of term, but it's been around since before dinosaurs. And here's my earrings today have also come from a plant that was around since before the dinosaurs, and that's the ginkgo. This is a leaf that was gilded, and a friend who knows I'm a plant nerd got them for me many moons ago. They're a little bit big, but they're fun. And most plants have true flowers. Pine trees, however, don't, and neither do cycads. They have cones, and they are wind pollinated because they were around before there were insects flying around to do pollination. So they made do with what they could get. Now, I do like these in a desert landscape. They really are a low water plant. And what I find is nice about them is when people say, oh, I just want some green in my yard, and they don't like the olive greens and the silvery greens and things that we find so often in desert plants. This is a good alternative and provides a nice color. So, Cycas revoluta, the sago palm, gardening with Soule in the land of El Sol.